Welcome to this explainer. Let's jump right in. Why does everyday life suddenly feel, well, more expensive than ever before? It is a question on almost everyone's mind right now. You're likely feeling the pinch, your neighbors are feeling it, and the data clearly shows it's not just your imagination. Today, we're going to unpack exactly what is happening to our money and why the financial ground feels like it's literally shifting beneath our feet. To really understand this, we just need to look at how $100 used to comfortably cover groceries, a tank of gas, and your basic necessities. It was a reliable benchmark, right? But today, that same amount vanishes almost instantly. You walk into a store, grab a few essential items, and suddenly you're tapping your card for a total that feels completely disproportionate to what's actually in your cart. Food costs more, electricity costs more, insurance costs more. Let's look at the mechanics behind why this exact scenario is playing out everywhere. So, here is how we'll break down this economic shift. We've got four main areas to cover. First, the everyday reality of costs. Second, housing and healthcare pressures. Third, the core causes of inflation. And finally, the psychological toll this stress takes on us. Okay, starting with section 1, the everyday reality of costs, where basic survival is taking precedence over luxury. For so many families right now, financial pressure is absolutely no longer about cutting back on luxury spending. It is strictly about basic survival. Simple trips to the grocery store for staples, things like meat, eggs, milk, and fresh vegetables, cost significantly more than they did just a few short years ago. Then you factor in utilities, with electricity bills continually climbing, plus the unpredictable nature of gas prices at the pump. These aren't optional luxuries. They are the absolute requirements of daily life, and they are demanding a much larger, much more stressful slice of your family's budget. Because of these rising costs, families are fundamentally changing the way they live and shop. Even middle-class families who were previously quite comfortable are feeling the heat. They're buying less overall, switching away from their preferred brands to cheaper alternatives, and completely cutting back on everyday purchases they used to consider entirely normal. Even grabbing a bite at a small local restaurant feels noticeably more expensive now. People are carefully tracking every single dollar, realizing that no matter how hard they work, the money simply does not go as far. Which brings us to section 2, housing and healthcare pressures, which have become major financial burdens. If the grocery store feels like a squeeze, the housing market is a downright vice. Housing has become a massive financial hurdle. First off, home prices remain incredibly high across many parts of the country. Add to that the dramatically increased mortgage rates compared to previous years, and the math completely changes for anyone trying to buy. And for renters, the situation isn't much better, with monthly rents steadily rising in cities everywhere. Whether you're a young worker renting your first place or a retiree looking to downsize, housing now eats up a huge percentage of your income. And the simple reality is, when housing costs take that much, you have far less money for absolutely everything else. And that leaves us with a pretty stark emotional number, 0. That's the amount of financial flexibility left for many Americans, particularly older Americans and retirees who are living on fixed incomes. Healthcare expenses are a massive, looming concern here. Medical bills, prescription costs, and insurance premiums just relentlessly climb. Even routine checkups cost significantly more now. When you combine this with climbing insurance prices for homes and vehicles, folks on fixed incomes find their margin for error reduced to exactly 0. They feel completely trapped between unavoidable rising costs and a hard, fixed limit on what they can spend. Let's transition to section 3, the core causes of inflation, to understand the macroeconomics driving this. The crucial piece to understanding all of this is inflation itself. What actually is it? Simply put, inflation happens when prices increase across the entire economy over time. But the why is what matters. It occurs because more money enters the economic system faster than the supply of goods and services can keep up. It's a classic case of too many dollars chasing too few goods. And the inevitable result of that is the value of each individual dollar drops, meaning you have to pay more of them for the exact same item. It's really been a severe economic chain reaction that got us here. Over the past few years, the economy took multiple hits. Step 1, businesses faced much higher transportation costs to move goods. Step 2, labor costs went up as wages had to adjust. Step 3, massive global supply chain disruptions created product shortages everywhere. And step 4, historic government spending and a growing national debt injected vast amounts of money into the economy, adding intense pressure. When all these factors pile up, businesses pass those costs down the line. Prices rise, and ultimately it's the consumer, you and me, who pays the price at the register. Finally, let's look at section 4, the psychological toll of stress, focusing on the human impact of the economy.
Even when economic headlines claim the economy is technically growing, out in the real world, ordinary people are feeling emotionally exhausted. Folks are working incredibly hard today, perhaps harder than ever, but the daily reality just doesn't match the rosy headlines. Paychecks simply do not stretch the way they used to. Because everyday items cost more, whatever savings people manage to build up are disappearing much faster just to cover the monthly gaps. And when budgets are pushed to the absolute limit, any unexpected expense, a car repair, a medical issue, a broken fridge, creates extreme, paralyzing stress. Families feel like they are running on a treadmill, constantly trying to catch up but never actually moving forward.
This intense financial pressure isn't just about math on a spreadsheet. It's a heavy, real-world psychological burden. It actively degrades your quality of life. The constant worry over bills and inflation wreaks havoc on sleep patterns, it strains marriages and relationships, and it essentially ruins your overall peace of mind. People are now living with this steady baseline level of anxiety regarding their retirement, their healthcare, and how they'll manage tomorrow's expenses. And this contrast is particularly jarring for older generations. The harsh financial reality of today feels drastically and uncomfortably different from the economy they actually experienced and planned for decades ago. It feels like the rules of the game were entirely rewritten late in the match. The cost of living today is at a level that completely disrupts carefully laid retirement plans and long-held expectations of what financial stability should look like in your later years. Furthermore, beyond their own immediate security, there is a deep-seated worry about the next generation. Looking at these soaring costs, parents and grandparents are asking some tough questions. Will our children or grandchildren ever be able to afford a home? Will they be able to maintain a comfortable standard of living? Or will they be permanently locked out of the financial milestones that previous generations just took for granted? It is a profound and heavy concern for the future. This all brings us to a core philosophy that really hits the nail on the head. The economy is more than stock market numbers or government reports. It is about whether ordinary people can afford to live comfortably and feel financially secure. This is the ultimate truth. You can have charts showing GDP growth and a stock market hitting record highs, but if the average person at the grocery store or paying their electricity bill feels like they are drowning, then the real lived economy is struggling. Right now, millions of Americans are paying significantly more while getting significantly less in return. The pressure is impossible to ignore. So as we wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with this to think about. Since the old rules don't seem to apply anymore and our money doesn't stretch the way it used to, we have to rethink our approach. With life feeling more expensive than ever before, what does genuine, resilient financial security actually look like for you and your family in today's world?